What would you say if I told you that there was a mastering app for your Mac or PC that was 100% free and could allow you to create an unlimited number of high resolution masters of your songs? You'd be saying, Pete, what's the catch? Well, in this video, you and I are going to find out because I'm going to take a look at BX Mastering Studio for the very first time. Hi, my name is Pete. This is Studio Live today, and my goal here is to help you create, record, and release your best music. And if you're releasing music, you've probably heard of something called mastering, where you take your final mix and you add that little dash of sweetness or loudness or whatever you want to put on there and make it radio ready. Well, that's what we're looking at with BX Mastering Studio. Now, this has a bit of a history. It was originally a website, and I did check it out way back when, but never really in any sort of depth. It has now been removed as a website and created as a standalone app. The good news is it's still free and you can use it on your Mac or your PC. Hey, that rhymes. The bad news is you can't use it on a mobile device. So full disclosure up front, if you're a mobile creator and you don't have access to a Mac or a PC, this one won't be for you. But if you do, let's follow along. Now, I was given information about this and the changes and where it's at now by Scott, who's a viewer of the channel. So thank you. Shout out to Scott. I haven't even downloaded this yet. So we're going to be going through the process together and checking it out. All I have done is watch this video, which you can watch either now, hit pause and watch this, or you can watch after the fact. But this gives you a walkthrough of BX Mastering Studio. And it's BX because it's Brainworks, who are from the Plugin Alliance, which is associated with Native Instruments. We'll have to find this out as we go along because there's some complexity to this somewhere along the road. But let's now jump in here and let's hit this button and download BX Mastering Studio for free. I'm assuming it'll want some details or data because when something is free, remember, on the internet, there's no such thing as free because if it's free, you are the product. So I'm assuming that the idea is here, and I can already see with some ads off to the side, that they will give this away for free, and then they'll say, hey, but you can download and you can buy and you can do all the other things. But you know what? We're going to download for free right now. So I'm going to hit this download free button. It's going to take me down to downloads. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to tap on this one or click on it. I'm so used to saying tap. Here we go. We now need to log in or create an account. So I'm going to go ahead and create this account, and you'll rejoin me once we've finished this login process. All right, that process took about 2 minutes. I went through, put my email address and my name. It then had a verification email. I clicked on that one, and now I'm logged in. So we're going to give this another try. We're going to come down here to where we have found the installation manager and click on the Mac version. And this time, hopefully, we will actually get a download. Yes, we do. So there's the zip file download. We're going to click that one and we'll double click and open this one. So it's one of these where we need to do, here on a Mac, sometimes you need to do this, where you need to just drag this across and it'll give you a boom and it's installed. It's very weird. If you've come from the Windows world as I did, that doesn't feel like I've run an installation. That feels like I've got much more to do, but that should have worked. So let's now see if it's here. So I'm going to hit Command Space, and I'm assuming it's just called BX Mastering. No. Let's go Mastering. No, maybe it didn't work. That's all right. We're learning together here, folks. So we'll come over and go to my Launchpad and see if we can find it installed here. So there you go. There is an installation manager. So that didn't install the app. That installed an installation manager. Okay, let's open this. Here's where we go. It's going to be the Plugin Alliance installation manager. So this is where it's going to, and again, we said this up front. This is where it'll say, okay, we need to install. Yep, I'll put my finger on my thing. No, I'll need to do my password. So just a moment, folks. We'll be back after I enter my password. And here you go. So it's the Plugin Alliance Installation Manager. So as I was halfway through saying, this will be the place where it will give us offers of other free things and then eventually paid things. So as I said before, kind of no such thing as a free lunch, but from all reports, you can go ahead and use this. No questions asked. You don't have to take up any of the other offers. So let's continue on. We'll hit the accept button here. We need to log in again, which I'll do for you now. I'll be back in a jiffy. So I'm logging in, we're connecting, and now we've got a dashboard here where we can install some different, download, install, filter by all products. So this is where it's getting more complicated. I'm not going to lie that we just want the free mastering that you just offered us, but I'm not able to find it easily. So why don't we try and go download, install, import, install? No, download, install, select products. Let's just go mastering. Can we find it? No, my products. There it is. There's so brain. It's under BrainWorks. So, and is this auto selecting all of these as well? So it's selecting. Okay, so that says that's all included. So that must be some of the DSPs, the digital signal processors, and other apps and VST, so plugins and extensions that we may need with this one. I'm just going to click this background items. That's annoying me. So I'll tap on that one, click on that one, and it's saying, yes, we can install this, which is what we wanted to install. Download it, install. It's going and doing its thing. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this process of a plugin manager or a download manager. It adds another layer of complexity between you and your software, but I understand why it's there, and it's free, so I'm really in no position to argue. All right, so that's installed, or no, it's downloaded. We can now click install, which feels like about the third time we've clicked install. Installation complete. Build another or exit. All right, let's exit. Can I run the app now? Please, can I run the app now? Is it here somewhere? No. Mastering, BX. Where is it? Do I have to run it from within that app that I was just in? Or, all right, let's go. Let's go back to this launchpad. There it is. Okay, but it's for some reason it wasn't actually in my ability to search. So maybe it's still being indexed. Okay. Activation required. Click to activate. Okay, I will click to activate. All right, activation. Fully functional 14-day trial. Hang on. Fully functional 14-day trial. Purchase a license. Okay, select the device. Activate all my licenses. But I'm okay. I'm online. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. This is actually super frustrating. They need to fix this process because I am a reasonably adequate user of software. Yeah, this is not doing me favors. So yeah, I'm definitely in the right piece of software. Activate. I'm online. Do I have to log in again? I have to log in again. Okay, I'm going to log in again. We're going to keep with this and see how we go. Okay, Plugin Alliance by Native Instruments is using data tracking. No, we won't enable data tracking at this point, and we'll hit OK. So we're in here. Yeah, okay. That seems to have worked. Let's just close that down at the back there and embiggen it so we can see everything here. So yeah, so here's our mastering console, and I guess we now get started. Here are our different presets here, which are interesting, and we've already had a problem report. Okay, let's reopen. That was the that's the installation manager, which closed and reopened itself behind the scenes over here. Okay, let's just close that and hope that it doesn't need that in the short term. Okay, let's put the mastering app up there, and we'll come here. So I've got some things ready to master here in my downloads folder. I wanted to give this to you absolutely warts and all. So please, if you're thinking, Johns, you should have done all this beforehand. No, I really don't think I should have. I think that this is really important to see how things work in the real world. And if you were going to do this, you'd come across the same things. So, yeah, if you don't like that way of doing things, apologies. But we're going to play around with this now. So let us dive in here and add a song to this. Firstly, we'll use this one, which is a more sort of laid back mellow tune. This is my song called One Moment. And it says here, add tracks, hitting the plus, or drag and drop to get started. So let's drag and drop the file, and it's going to open that up. Yep, there's my stereo wave file. It's still doing a spinny winny things there. So I'm assuming this is doing some sort of processing for us at this point in time. We'll give it just a second there. Actually, I'll see. Can we go full screen? Yeah, let's go full screen so we can see everything going on here. So if we just hit the play button, let's just see what we get out of the box. The play button does not work out of the box. There we go. So it's done its processing, and we've now got our mastering ready to go. First thing I'm seeing here is, because this has some lead in, because it was exported from Logic Pro. So I'm wondering if this means that to do a master within this, there's no way to trim the front or the back. So we'll find out when we go to export. Maybe there is a trim in the export, but we'll worry about that a little later. Let's hit play on this one. So I can already tell that it's automatically put it into master mode, and it's already pushing it up quite a bit there. So I'm just checking my audio settings here to make sure that you're going to be able to hear this okay. Let's go to a loud section down here and hit play. They would go now, 'cause I want to be alone. So it's definitely out of the box. Like most mastering apps, it's pretty intense. So we'll probably need to play around with some things here. It has done the analysis here for us, so it looks like it's actually changed the input here. And I did watch in the video, and I probably should have watched it a little bit more in detail. But again, I wanted to go into this a little bit blind, so that, like you, I'm just tackling this for the very first time. Now, I do know that we've got the ability to bypass and listen to the master here. So let's maybe come to the end here and take a listen and just see and hear the difference between the bypass, which is with no mastering, and this one, which is mastering. So let's hit play. Without, and I know that you've been thinking, and I know how hard it's been, but you know I'll always be there in your heart. So yeah, it's definitely doing a lot there. Now, there's a bunch of different presets here. So we've got LA Punch and LA Standard, Berlin Street, Berlin Club, London Edgy, London Smooth. What about a London Smooth? Let's just play with some presets and see what it does to all of the things over here. So London Smooth, unsaved changes. Yeah, no, we don't need to save those changes. We're definitely not going that way anyway. So what has it done now? It's changed all of these. So it's changed all of the settings that it's actually already adjusted here for us. And I've got to try and remember what the pluses and the minuses here do and what they mean. I think this is an adjustment that it does originally for us. Let's just change it again. Yeah, so I think it does some sort of initial changes when you import a file, and then it makes adjustments on it. And we do have tone and dynamics here as well. So we've got harmonics control. We can control the compression that we have here. We've got a de-esser, which might be important for me, and we've got a limiter. So that's all the dynamics. And here on the tone is more of your EQ stuff. So you've got your frequency, your high pass filter and low pass filter, a mono maker. So I believe that what this does is that everything under a certain frequency, it ensures it's in mono. So you don't have weird things like your kick drum or your bass guitar being panned to the left or the right. It brings it into the middle there. You've got resonance filters here, and you've got your stereo enhance for a bit of stereo widening, and your output there. So you can decide whether you're pushing it right up to that 0 dB or just giving it a little bit of headroom. So a lot of folks will master at minus 0.1. Some people master all the way down at like -1. But I think these days, yeah, you kind of want to be as close to 0 as you can for your peaks of your master. So let's, we'll come out of Miami Pop. Let's go back to the LA, what was it? London Smooth. So we'll continue with that. And let's listen to this. We'll go into bypass, and then we'll play it, and then we'll flick over into the mastered version. Go now, 'cause I want to be alone, and I know you'll always be there in my heart. So that's definitely a lot better and a lot closer to the sort of sound we want. If we compare that to go back, actually we can't go back. What about remaster clean? Let's just go to a clean remaster on this one and see what that's going to sound like. Go now, 'cause I want to be alone, and I know you'll always be. Yeah, so you can hear and also see that it's not pushing it anywhere near as hard with that It has turned up the mids there, and it's turned up the treble and the presence a little bit. I liked the sound of the London Smooth here to start with. I think this gave us a good kind of sound. Everything's pretty flat here though. I did find with the master on this one that I did originally, it kind of was a little bit too bass heavy. As you can hear there, like the bass sound of my voice there is kind of overpowering. So I wonder if at this point with the mastering, we can actually adjust the tone here, maybe tame the bass a little bit and give it a little bit of a treble or presence boost. So let's come to this louder section in the middle here. I do like the navigation, the ability to move around within here is pretty cool. Let's hit play. I shout out loud, sometimes I feel you. Like you are still here. I know it gets better. I know time will heal, but I just need a moment. Just need one moment. I do like that the adjustments here are pretty subtle. So the whole idea with mastering is to do no harm. So being able to just adjust things very subtly is a good thing in my opinion. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that I think we'll go with this one, is to do that. I don't think we need to use this mono maker. I think we've only really got some very basic drums and bass in this one, but I like the idea that that's there. Let's have a little look at the dynamics here that we have. So we've got our harmonics here, maybe a little saturation. Maybe if we turn this one up, let's see what this is going to do to our master. I shout out loud, sometimes I feel you. Like you are still here. I know it gets better. I know time will hit. All right. Now we've got the compressor here, and it looks like we've got the ability to link the channels. It's been a long time since I've used a mastering console. I used to love Final Touch on the iPad, and I must admit I've been relying on others to do my mastering for a long time, so I'm out of practice with a master. But let's play this again and change these compression. What if we boost the ratio up here to like an 8:1? I shout out loud, sometimes I feel you. Like you are still here. I know it gets better. I know time will hit. So the good news is that out of the box, it doesn't do. So you'll notice there with your compressor, it's not letting you do anything less than 85% of your mix, which means you're either not having it or you're having it a decent amount, which is fair. And the same with your EQ and things. It's not letting you adjust those to make it sound horrific, and that's a good thing. Let's see if this de-esser is actually doing anything here, because it's up at 56 of 60, whatever the control actually is for. And let's just drive this up and see if we can hear a difference. I shout out loud, sometimes I feel you. Let's hear that sometimes I feel you. Out loud, sometimes. So there's the sometimes with the de-esser engaged. Out loud, sometimes. Yeah, if it's doing anything, it's pretty subtle as well. Now here's the bit, the gain, the limiter, the adjustment here. This is where we need to take a look here. So you've got your ceiling there, that again, you can go all the way up to 0. This is what I was thinking this was before. So your output, but it's more the ceiling here of your limiter that you want to make sure. And again, it won't let you go over 0 dB, because of course not, but you can either go to something like -1, which will be a very kind of conservative master, right up to 0, or what most folks will do is go at least -0.02, just to give it a little buffer zone. Attack is just medium or fast, which is good. You don't have to worry about that. And release here, 3 milliseconds. You can get right down to 0.01, or right up to 1,000. So yeah, most of the time you want a medium kind of setting with your release with a limiter on a master. And by the way, that just means that the limiter will come on when it needs to pull up the volume, and it will turn off within 3 milliseconds if it hits that peak. If that's too long, it means you can get some more clipping and distortion going on there. So yeah, I kind of like having the setting around there. Let's just drive up the gain here and see, because this one's got a very moderate amount here, and if we turn it up, you're going to get a much more affected sound, a much louder loudness wars style master. Loud, out loud, sometimes I feel you like you. And you can hear there, you can definitely get distortion and clipping if you turn it up too much, as I did there. Let's just open another preset while in the dynamics here and just see the difference. So if we go for something that is actually going to be punchier, like LA Punch, yeah, we won't save our changes. So yeah, you get the limiters at 1 there. And I think from what I read, a lot of these settings are based on the song that we've actually imported here. So let's just play this out of the box with the punchy sound. Loud, out loud, sometimes I feel you like you are still. So you can definitely hear that, especially at the low end, you're getting more of that thumpy kind of sound there. We're going to go back to the London Smooth that I liked the original sound of here. Hadn't changed anything there, so that's reset all of our settings here. And let's just see how we actually export from here, because I'm interested. It's one thing to be able to master and to play with your settings and use the presets and use all the knobs and dials. It's another to be able to actually get it out of here. So let's try this. We're going to hit export in the bottom left here. And here's where this kind of shines above anything else that's free in the world of mastering, and why I went through a few little hurdles at the start there to get here. So we can actually choose our format. So that's both our kilohertz, so the sampling rate, and the bit rate that we want to export this at. You can go all the way up to 192.32. Now keep in mind, this one was a 44.1 24-bit file. So upsampling from there is not generally going to do much. If you're not already at 96 or 192, you can do it. You're going to get bigger files, and if it makes you feel better, go your hardest. But I like to keep everything. I do everything at 44.1 24-bit because I use GarageBand and Logic and a lot of other apps, so I try to keep those consistent. And here's the thing. You can actually do an entire EP or album with this. And again, if you watch the little video, which I'll link in the description of this one, you can see how you can do that. You can actually go through and have a whole sort of mastering setup and have some consistency, especially if you've got an album or an EP that's going to be consistent. Let's find a destination to export these to. We'll send it to the same place, this mastering folder that we set up here under downloads and mastering, and we'll hit open there. And the one thing I'm seeing here is that so we'll hit start export. There isn't a trim. So look, it's not the end of the world, but I would have loved to be able to actually trim the start or the end. We've got a little rolling thing here, which I'm assuming means that that's doing its thing. So you will then need to trim this in another platform, or make sure you prepare your files beforehand. So when you export them, and if you are a Logic Pro or GarageBand user on your iPad or your iPhone, Audio Shares, that's your go-to. And I've shown how to use that, or you can search my name, Pete Johns Audio Share, on the YouTube, and you'll find where I show how to use Audio Share to trim. So let's see if we come over here to this one here. Do we have our master? We do. So let's... yeah, so it's called Final Mix and Master. It was only the final mix, but this is the WAV file that it's actually exported here. So here's my original. Let's just open this one with QuickTime and have a quick listen. So this is the original song that we had, which was our final mix. I know time will heal, but So let's now open this mastered version. And remember, we didn't spend much time at all playing with this. So we'll go to QuickTime and we'll go to that same spot in here at the same point. I know time will heal, but I just need a moment. Look, it is louder, so it is hard to tell straight up and do A-B comparisons. But yeah, out of the box, in terms of just getting you a quick and quality master, once you get everything downloaded and installed, that is, it seems pretty good. It has all of the different options that you would want and not much that you don't want. So there's no weird reverb modules or delay modules or anything else. It really is focused on your tone, so your EQ here, and then your dynamics, your compression, your harmonics, and your limiting. And that's really all you want. There is stereo enhance here. Be careful with that. If you turn the stereo enhance up too much on anything, it's generally going to sound pretty rubbish. Should we do another track? By the way, we have global style and per track up here. So not all tracks use the same style or styles. Okay. So you can do it globally or per track individually. Let's bring in another track, shall we? We'll go back to here. Oh, we need to go to, sorry for those that don't like things jumping around. We'll grab my song, A Lot to Learn, or Learn, which was my song from my Songtember 2024. And don't forget, Songtember is coming up again in 2025. So yeah, the little spinning wheel there means it's loading in. Again, picky. Would be nice to just sort of have a thing saying loading in the middle of the screen, but hey, we'll go with it. So here's a lot to learn. Again, there's a gap at the front, and let's just listen to what it's given us. Oh, so we're still in the London Smooth. Okay, got it. So with this one, let's go. What haven't we tried? No, we don't want Berlin. That's going to be more like, yeah, we'll go the LA Punch. Or we'll start with LA Standard. Yeah, okay, we'll continue with that, and we'll go with LA Standard. So you can see here it's changing the global style, so it means that it's going to change the master for our other song as well. So let us come in here, and we'll put it on bypass, we'll play it, and then we'll switch over to master and take a listen. Yeah, so out of the box, impressive stuff. And I like that because some of you will want to come in here and you'll just be like, it's a rock song. I'll just put the LA Stands or LA Punch on. Oh, it's a dance track. I'll just put the Berlin Club on there. In fact, let's just do Berlin Club and see what this gives us. Yeah, so pretty high compression, reasonable amount of gain there. It turns up the treble and the bass a little bit, gives us a bit more presence. Yeah. Okay. Make sure that the mono maker is at everything under 100 hertz there as well, and some resonance filters are applied there as well. So this is a good way to learn a new app, especially if, like me, you're far from a mastering expert, because I'm not. You can change the different presets and see what they do, and then listen, and then go, right, what am I going to go with? Let's go to this big final chorus here, and in fact, let's go to the LA Punch. And here, we'll see the difference between standard and punch here. Let's just see what punching it up actually does. Yeah, it does a little bit in the way of that. Back to standard. Yeah, so it turns up the presence a little bit. Back to punch. Yeah, it doesn't do much else there. It probably does more here in the dynamics. So standard, yeah. Oh, weirdly, standard has a higher compression ratio. Fair enough. Whereas punch does dial it down a bit. Okay, interesting. Let's hit the bypass button. Let's play this, and then we'll turn it over to the master. And I know. So yeah, the punch definitely is a little bit more full on. Let's go back to the standard. And by the way, you're hearing this through my mixer, through YouTube at varying volumes because it is hard to balance my voice that you're hearing and then the playback of the audio. So yeah, your mileage is going to vary a little bit when you listen on your monitor speakers or your headphones in your studio or on your Mac or your PC. So what's the verdict on this, and do I need to do much more with it? I need to learn more. This again was a first look. I wanted to go into this 100% raw, but I think understanding the couple of limitations. So let's first talk about the cons, shall we? Let's summarize here. Let's talk about the cons, and then we'll talk about all the pros. And spoiler alert, I think the pros outweigh the cons here. The fact that you can put your track in, and we didn't even talk about the fact that you can actually turn the input gain down and then push the dynamics up. So we can turn the gain of the limiter up here. So if you've got a track that say doesn't have much headroom, you could actually turn the input gain down and then gain up your limiter, and then actually get create yourself a little bit of artificial headroom there at the top end. If that means nothing to you, don't worry. Just know that if you use something like GarageBand that does auto normalization, it means that your peaks are already going to be at 0 dB. It means mastering can be hard. But if you grab the input knob here, turn that down about 5 dB, and then gain up on your limiter, you can actually pull all your peaks down and then limit or compress the top end and give yourself a much nicer sounding master. But let's give me off the cuff. What are the downsides? I didn't like the install process. I think you probably realized that when you watched it. To be honest with you, I don't love when something makes you log in, makes you download a separate installer. I had to log in 3 times in the end. So I had to create an account and log in. I then had to validate it and verify it through my email. I had to log in again to go to the download to download the installer. Then once within the installer, I had to log into the installer. And then I'm pretty sure I had to log in a 4th time. It was at least 3, if not 4. So lots of logging in. You do have to give them your data, so they now know that Pete Johns has downloaded this app. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to get some emails, I think, by accepting the terms and conditions. And I'm sure you can unsubscribe. Let me know. Let me know your experience and if you've tried this out and what happened. But I don't begrudge that at all. And I get it. The problem is I'm used to the world of Apple, where you don't have to use things like the dreaded keys and the download managers and the ways to make sure that no one's pirating things, because you really can't pirate Apple stuff. Well, you can, but it's a lot harder when it comes to things like Logic Pro and plugins that are on your iPad or your iPhone. It's a little bit harder to get hold of. Whereas I understand from someone like Plugin Alliance that they would actually need to be able to. So I do like this interface. I've got to tell you, when I first opened this, yeah, I was like, it's a bit blank, it's a bit bland. But I think anyway, we'll get to the pros in a minute. Other con is, correct me if I'm wrong, but there doesn't seem to be a way to trim the start or the end of your tracks. And I think that's just something simple and easy that would have been a great addition. And I get it. You can trim them in your DAW, but if you're exporting from your DAW, from Logic Pro or from GarageBand or from whatever you're using, yeah, you would have to actually make sure that you trim it down to exactly how you want your final mastered song to be, and then export that. So you'd almost have to export it, bring it back into Logic Pro or GarageBand as a stereo wave, trim the tops and tails, and then re-export it again out here. Whereas I think if you could just dump all of your project files straight out here with the silence at the start and the end, and then adjust it here, that would be a whole lot better. Really though, they're your cons. That's pretty limited, isn't it? Let's talk pros, shall we? So pros, I love the fact that you got an input knob. Absolutely fundamentally important, because some mastering apps just don't, and it's a big miss, because sometimes you need to turn down the initial source material before you do any of your processing. I love that you just have a simple tone and dynamics here. There's none of the fluff that you see in other things. Like seriously, if you're adding reverb and delay at the mastering point of your songs, I think something's gone horribly wrong. But I like the fact that you can adjust these, and that look, while they don't really tell you exactly what you're doing here in terms of having numbers, it's all just kind of -30 to +30, and they really don't seem to be doing that much. So it's almost like it protects you from yourself. It's not as if when I went down to the lowest bass, it's not like it went and flattened it completely. So if you think of your standard EQ curves, I'm pretty sure, without actually knowing it, that it's not actually dropping it by that much. Because again, it knows, and you should know, that these are tweaks. These are little sprinklings of salt. These shouldn't be your wholesale changes. You're not actually coming in here and adding like major filters and major EQ changes at this point in time. High pass filter and low pass filter, however, you do have here, so you can actually make sure that you are you're removing those. And in fact, I didn't actually play with these, but let's just see what this actually does. And again, you can only go down to 15 kilohertz, which is a good thing, because you never want to put, and the same with your low pass. So your high pass only goes 120 and your low pass goes 15. Now, if these don't mean much to you, don't worry too much. But what this does, it means any frequencies under 120 hertz it's going to filter out. So for a song like this, that's going to be okay. In fact, let's just play it. For my cream, no, not for me. Don't need no harshes on my... Because it really is not going to have a lot of that sub bass. But if you had like a dance track where you wanted to really feel the rumble of the sub bass, you wouldn't want to turn that up too much. Same with your low pass filter or high cut. I know it's weird that they're called low pass. High cut would make more sense. But with your low pass filter, same sort of deal. You can only filter everything above 15 kilohertz, which will only remove that kind of top end airiness. Let's take a listen. For my cream, no, not for me. Don't need no harshes on my head. Yeah. So if you're using this and you're thinking it doesn't sound like it's doing much, that's because it's not. And it's not by design. So I think that's an absolute pro. The mono maker's pretty cool there, and resonance filters there. Dynamics-wise, yeah, having the harmonics, the saturation built in is cool. Having a very simple compressor is cool. A simple de-esser, and the limiter here. So your limiter, not having to worry too much about attack. You do have release settings there if you want to play with them, but again, the presets will guide you there. And then being able to set your ceiling as well. Making sure that if you want to make sure that you're not really pushing it and you've got a bit of dynamic range, you can pull it back to minus 0.1 or leave it right up at minus 0.02. So, and if you don't know what any of this stuff means, experiment with it, play around with it, see what sounds good. Remember, you should be mixing and mastering with your ears, not necessarily your eyes. But some of it, you do need to be able to see what's actually going on. Really simple and effective metering over here. You've got your peaks up the top there. I didn't see anywhere where you can check the LUFS, which is something that... LUFS is a discussion we could go into for hours, and I won't, not only because I've never really understood it fully, full disclosure, but LUFS is your loudness unit's full scale, which is different from a peak. It's basically how loud overall your track is throughout the whole track. So it listens to the whole track and it works that out. And depending where you look on the internet, people say anything from minus 14 to minus 8 LUFS is good, depending how engaged you are in the loudness wars. But without, again, this is the first look. We can look into this in more detail. In fact, do let me know. Leave me a comment if you'd like me to read the whole manual and give you detailed instructions and breakdowns of everything within it and everything that this app does do and doesn't do. Then let me know. I would love to hear from you, because I did this because I got a recommendation from someone, and I'm more than happy to revisit it at some stage in the future. Stereo enhancement there, of course, and your overall output there. So yeah, and the ability to bypass directly here in the app, also pretty good. So in terms of what you get for a free app, this is on par with mastering apps that you'd pay $50 or $100 or much more for, and it's quite simple, quite easy to do. Like the fact that you got presets, and then like the fact that you can change things around quite easily and quite simply. The import and the export processes, again, despite not having a trim feature, are really handy. Works really well. And the very fact that you can have either global or per track settings is kind of handy. To have one global style and kind of, if you had an EP that was like 5 rock tracks, yeah, you might want them to all be mastered using the same settings. Or you can tweak them per track. So you can change that around if you would like to. Yes, I'll get you. So there it is. What do you reckon? Apart from a few hurdles at the start, getting the downloads and the install happening and a bit of peak frustration there, I'm pretty impressed with this. Good recommendation from Scott. And yeah, I'm going to continue using this. That's my initial verdict, but the proof will be in the pudding. So the next song that I create, I will use this for and see how we go. See, is it better than mastering within Logic Pro or within GarageBand or using something on the iPad like Grand Finale 2, which is probably the best alternative option to this. There are other options. BandLab have free mastering. You'd know that there's online masterings like Lander and eMastered. Guess what? They all cost money. And that's what I was amazed at by this. So when we hit the export button, when we hit the export button here, I was waiting for this to say, you can export the compressed version, or you can export a 16-bit version. And to be honest, that's what all other free mastering apps and platforms do. BandLab, 16-bit maximum. Things like Lander and eMastered, you get one for free, and it's compressed. So it's an MP3 file. You don't want to release an MP3. If you're releasing using DistroKid to Spotify and other places, which is what I recommend, and full disclosure, DistroKid are a sponsor of this channel and of my Your Music Live show, then you want the best quality. And the fact that if you do happen to be doing it in 32-bit, or you are someone that records in 96 or even 192 kilohertz, you have that, that's pretty cool. I haven't come across too many apps that actually support that either. So look, I don't look at many apps and I don't master that often, to be honest. So yeah, if you came here for a professional overview of the mastering plugins, you're like, well, actually, Johns, feel free, leave your comments. I'd love to hear them. I don't know all the stuff. I just know that mastering is something that shouldn't be ridiculously complicated, especially for home recording folks, and it shouldn't be doing a whole lot. And unlike some other mastering apps that let you kind of break your mixes, I like the fact that this one holds your hand and only lets you adjust things in subtle ways. Look, can you still come into your dynamics and turn this up to 11 and completely crush it and make it distorted? Yeah. But if you use the presets and just tweak from there, you really can't go wrong. So overall, yeah, try it. There seems to be no downside. The only downside would be if you're someone that absolutely fundamentally does not like to sign up to give their data and create accounts. I hear you. Not a huge fan, but for me, the trade-off is worth it. But I would like to hear your thoughts. Why don't you jump in and check it out? And if you do, please let me know. Once again, if you'd like me to do more on this, if you'd like me to do either a quick tutorial or a more in-depth tutorial, actually showing you the different options that we have here, I would love to do that for you. But I need to ensure that it's something that you'd get value from. That is going to do it for this one, folks. Please, if you found this one useful, I would love for you to hit the thumbs up button down below. Leave your comments down there as well. Subscribe to the channel to make sure that you keep up to date with all the videos and live shows that we do around here. And until next time, please be kind to yourselves, be kind to others. Keep creating. Bye for now.